Well, here we are again, a Firefly topic. I have my tablet camera on a swing arm over my table, something new. There might be a little bit of shake. We'll see if it can be stabilized at some point. But this is the Firefly as it has been since the last time I updated anything on it. So what happened was that Pipecat, shout out to Pipecat, he mentioned that he had put a new set of pickups in his Firefly, and they were called Tone Emporium, and they were Canadian. And I'm thinking, whoa, wait a minute, I got to find out about this. So I did. I went and I bought a set of pickups from Tone Emporium, who are here in Canada, in Ottawa. They have a nice weight to them. This is an aluminum body on the bottom here. I believe it's aluminum. It's non-magnetic. The wiring is quite nice. It's a 4-wire. This is the bridge 8.23K, and they're zebras. The neck is, I measured it, 7.46K. I had thoughts of putting in push-pull pots to split, but these are low output, and splitting them would just make them sound tinny and horrible, pretty much. So I decided against it at the last minute. So I rejigged my my wiring diagram. So I've received those pots. I bought a vintage wire, cloth, pushback wire, and it's waxed. That was unexpected. And what else? Oh yeah, I bought the push-pull pots. Doesn't look like I'll get to use them on this guitar. I thought about changing the nut. I may or may not do it. I have a new Tusk nut for that. And of course I have the Wilkinson tuners, which I had intended to put on here to begin with anyway. So, we'll see where we get to. There's a little bit of preparation that needs to be done, and the fact that I need to, I'm going to see if I can loosen the strings, pull the bridge back and off, put them to the side, while I'm trying to follow a methodology I saw from a number of YouTubers that have put stuff up where you put little strings, you tie little strings to these things, and then you release them, pull them out, and then you bring it out, you mark them, you do your wiring changes, blah blah blah, put it all together, and then you use the strings to pull them back in and up through the holes. I think the jack is going to be the hardest part, and I'm not kidding when I say that. But we'll see how it goes. People have made it look easy. I'm thinking of putting a braided wire on the jack, which I also have some of, to make that a single conductor with a shield on it. So, pickguard has to come off, knobs have to come off. I've got my roll of twine ready to go. I have masking tape, which I'm going to put all along the edges and along the parts of the guitar here where it won't be scratched, because you know I worked really hard on this thing to buff it all up when I first got it in the catastrophic state that it was in, and I still haven't got it all out, but it's good enough. So what I'm trying to do now is make this the guitar I hoped I would have always had as a semi-hollow, with non-microphonic pickups. The roller bridge has been very nice, and the neck is still doing very good. And you know, it's actually holding tune fairly well. with the stock pickup tuners on it, I should say. But we'll see where it goes. I'm going to see if this tape will stick. Got multiple sizes here. I don't want to do any more damage on this thing. One guy says it's not easy to do all this. It takes time, and it may take me a few days in between the other things that I'm doing. Let's try one. Let's try one, see what happens. Let's see what happens. And there's a little washer as well. Very flimsy washer. I mean, wow. Ooh, there's all kinds of compound in the hole. What I think I'm going to do is drop all the electrics out. I'm going to make a little template for this layout with paper. Maybe get some hard cardboard and mount this stuff to it. All these rings will have to come off, and we'll sort of jump to a fast forward point, I think, after I've thought a little bit more about what I'm going to do. Well, I got my cup of tea, and I made myself a little jig board to put those pots in when I can dig them out of there, and be able to rework them. So let's see if I can actually get parts out of here through this hole. See what that works out like. Oh, there's a washer on that one. Oh, look at that. That one moved. Oops. There goes a loose part. Ooh. There's a washer came off of one of these things. Oh, that one. All the compound on these pots still. Oh, two washers. That would be the... Oh, that's how they took up the stack. Washers. I'll put that aside for now. That means that there's washers on the other ones too. So I'm likely, yep, gonna lose. I'm likely gonna lose. And now there is something else up there. What is it? Ah, another pot. Tone. Jack. Ah, the jack has a braided output. I don't have to change that. Very nice. Although my braided one is nicer. It's still braided. Now the switch. Now the switch is the largest component, and I'm going to try to get it out sideways, but the wires are tight, and I'm not sure that it's going to come because it's pulling on something. Oh, you know what? I think that's the ground to the bridge. That's an important wire. And these look like pickups. Ta-da. Now that I have them all out, I don't know which ones are which. So I'm changing the wiring scheme on this to be independent volume controls. Alright, let's see where we go from here. I've completed my rewire. I decided to keep the existing wire that came in the Firefly because it's all braided, shielded wire. And I had to repurpose the jumpers on this side because what I opted to do was to put in 50 style tone where the capacitor gets jumpered to the output of the pot. It should move over there a little bit. To the output of the pot, and I did that for both of them. The output of the pot in this case is going to be lug number 1. You can see that. Lug number 1, 2, 3 going that way, 3 being grounded. In this particular case, doing this, you end up with independent volume controls. And I went with the 50 style wiring because I was told by my research that it allows less noise to be injected into the guitar through the tone capacitor circuit to ground that one, and then send the capacitor to the output instead of the input. And what I did here was install my treble bleed circuits as well. On both sides, that's a resistor and a capacitor in series across the volume pot. It's 150K with a 0.001 microfarad. Now the other thing I did was, because the pickups are different between neck and bridge, in my case what I decided to do was to go with a 22 on the neck, because the necks are usually warmer pickups anyway, and I went with only a 33 on the bridge because if I do try to roll it back, which I rarely do, I don't want it to be as dark toning as a 47 does. I had to stay with the dime sized pots. I tried to put the large ones inside the F-hole. No go, they would not fit in. So I stayed with all the braided wiring instead of putting in the new vintage wiring that I bought for this, because I thought this was already wired and better to be braided than not. So the next step on this is to get these things reinserted back into the guitar. Let's see how it goes. So I saw some videos and they said put some strings through here to pull your parts back in. This one's for the jack. I've already done that one. Didn't want to embarrass myself too badly trying to figure out how to get that in there, but they said, you know, get a piece of wire or a coat hanger or something, stick it in there. Well, that one seemed to be fairly easy. And then now what we're going to try and do is run some cord for some of the other ones. Now they also said to tape them up. I'm not so sure I need to tape them up, but we will see. So I want one for there, which is going to be the neck tone. Little slip knot. Let's see if I can get that on there and pull it through. Will it come through the hole? It won't come through that hole. This is too big. It was great for the jack, but it wasn't great for this one, so straighten that out. I'm going to bend it a little bit more. So 6mm holes. Fits? Fits. Okay. So up through the hole, hopefully, if I can get the angle, like that. Slip it over, pull it down, pull it out to about here, given myself enough string on the end of these things so that I don't have to worry about getting it lost if it falls off. And I've got a pin somewhere like this, which is going to be that's neck tone NT. The jack is the one that needs to go in first. Alright, I'm up to where I've pulled the jack in and hand tight. The switch is there with the knurled nut. I've got the neck pots up here on the top waiting to go pulled in. Have to hook up the neck pickup wires to this volume pot, and the shield or the ground wire for the saddle also has to go on the back of that pot. So here's going to be some gymnastics in trying to hold these things in place. So the little red wire has to go on lug 2, while the ground wires have to go on the back of the pot. So preparation is important. So what I want to do is solder this one first, so I have some mechanical to hold those when I'm flipping the pot, so I don't have as much stress on the red one. That's my thinking. I'm sticking to it until further notice. Alright, see if I can get some on there. Come on, let go. Now, I had a thought of maybe putting a piece of tape across that pot just to hold it for me there, like that. Temporarily. Now, let's see what we can do. If we can tie all that in with those ones in there and help to reflow it, because it worked. The pot gets the pot gets very hot very quickly, and I don't want it to damage any of the surface. See if I can put it in the hole. Just move that aside. See if I can catch my light just the right way. It's going to be touchy. Let's see. Just got to get it in past there and give it a shot. Let's inspect. Looks like it worked. Let's make sure that the ground is not going to be touching anything. And that's fully clear. Like that. Okay. Alright, all this stuff has to stay aside for now. Yeah, it's still pretty high. I don't know what's going on there. It came out of there. Did I put that around the wrong way? Oh my god, I did. Oh crap. Can you believe that? I gotta take that off and do it again. I'll be back. Okay, well, I'm gonna let the guy know that put those rings on backwards that I'm not paying for the extra labor. Oh, wait, I already did. Oh well. Anyway, back together. I can still see some of the cables in there, which I'm not gonna worry my little head about, or my old head about. So, she's back on. Tuned up. Okay, the final reveal. It's all back together. I did not change the tuning keys yet. I just couldn't bring myself to cut off a brand new set of strings that were put on here just recently. So I decided I would just wait until the string change. So the wiring is in there. You can see a little bit of it. I don't really care too much about that. They did a better job of it than I did hiding it. But as long as it plays. And it does play much better than the original microphonic pickups that were on here. So what I've got is Fender 65 twin reverb tooled up on my amplifier in clean mode, treble, bass and middle all at 5s, no gain, just to show you the combinations that I got from these new wiring schemes. So we'll start with the bridge. Alone, no tone, full volume. In the middle it warms up just a little bit. Down the bridge it warms up just a slight bit more. And I like that, because typically what happens is you get to the bridge pickup and it just sounds like you're speaking through your hand. I was speaking through your hand if you didn't get it. And it sounds muddy, and this doesn't. So that's good. Now, I put the different capacitors. I put a 22 on the neck, put a 33 on the bridge. And as I roll it, it gets the most pickup in about the last 10% of the roll down. And from my research I found out that that would be because of a 90-10 linear type pot, where 90% of it is linear and then the last 10% it drops off very quickly. Both my pots are like that. Actually all of them are like that. And on the volume circuit with the treble bleed, we're going to stay on the bridge position. The treble bleed allows you to roll back the volume a little bit more at a time. And just in the last 10% goes right off. But progressively and very smoothly comes up to full volume. and it allows the treble to continue to ring out all the way down. This is something I like. And the independent for the volume controls. Now that's important because when you get to the middle, you can roll back and blend. It's very subtle. The addition. So what I'm adding is this much to the full bridge. Or you could do it the other way around to blend the tone you want, to make it a little bit sharper wherever you like it. To me that's important. So, in a practical application, I recently did the Europa challenge with Leo Ryan of Leo and Dan Ryan's channel, and I'm just going to use, so what I found was add my pedals, full bridge, and just a tiny bit of neck to give it that Santana warmness. These Tone Emporium pickups, I have to say that I like them a lot compared to the other ones that were in here. Huge upgrade. I think they cost me about $110 Canadian. I think I'm going to like this change. This Firefly is now closer to what I really wanted in a semi-hollow body guitar when I bought this. I kind of figured I was going to have to do a lot of changes to it. The final change, or possible changes, is of course the tuners and possibly the nut. I'm not exactly sure I'm going to go for the nut, but the tuners at the string change. So this is the latest edition of my Firefly.